Entertainment. I am not a Zhiyu-style thief. Introduction. www.zhaozhuiyuan.com. This is an era of art until death. The entertainment industry has experienced unprecedented development in this world. Su Feng, who possessed a system, originally intended to become the uncrowned king worshipped by countless people in this world. But on the path of sustainable development, it is necessary to harvest the emotional values of the audience, readers, and the audience, which can be obtained https://www.zhaozhuiyuan.com. Chapter 1. Everlasting Regret in Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Qinzhou Art College, mid-September, male dormitory. At 9:30 in the morning. Su Feng didn't even attend morning classes and lay in bed with his eyes wandering. It would probably take an hour for him to adapt to this strange feeling. He clearly knew he had traveled, but he also remembered the events of his previous life in 556, but now he just feels like he is the original owner. And now my new identity is a handsome boy from the composition department of Qinzhou Academy of Art. My parents passed away due to a disease in the early years, leaving me with an older sister to rely on. Even today, my family is still paying off the debts caused by this disease. Because I don't want my sister to be too tired, I work part-time every day, go to convenience stores at night, attend classes during the day, and don't rest after class to work. It can be said that I am a true 007, and then. In my sophomore year, the King of Hell praised my health. After gradually accepting all the memories of the original owner, Su Feng looked surprised because he had discovered something interesting. This world and my hometown Earth can be said to be the same in the first half, but split in the second half. How could this world be unified? At that time, the state of Qin was striving for the remaining strength of the sixth generation, but what was interesting came. Just as they were preparing for war, an army from the Alexander Empire arrived, and the 7 countries were stunned in an instant. Are there people of other races in this world? The reason why internal contradictions arise is because there are no external contradictions. At that time, the kings of the 7 countries gathered together to discuss what we were fighting for, not just resources and land. It seems like there's still a lot of things outside. Then, the 7 major hooligans appeared. Unified deployment of troops, accidentally unified the world. After the war, after a period of time, people became greedy and planned to seize territory, fighting. However, an unnamed divine figure appeared, which made these 7 hooligans willingly establish a United Nations-like organization and then divide their respective regions. Countries exchanged information with each other, and many years later, there was no distinction between countries in this world. Everyone was descendants of the Chinese people, and they all changed their names to states. Now, the United Government has become the only official institution. Just like the place where Su Feng is now located in Qinzhou, it is the region where the state of Qin used to be located. In this incredible era, after so much development, there has never been a resurgence of human nature. Destruction and self-destruction. People have turned their attention to entertainment. The entertainment industry has reached an unimaginable height, and creating excellent works of art seems to have become the lifelong pursuit of most people. Su Feng pursed his lips and couldn't help but sigh, this is the best era, but it seems like the worst era. But on the other hand, what's the use of coming into this world on your own? To become a wave of entertainment that belongs to oneself in this era of entertainment until death. But this era is indeed a huge cake, waiting in front of me to harvest, but I remember all the cultural and entertainment works on Earth very well. How can I copy this myself? Isn't the last thing copied out just a copycat act? Gulu, I don't know if he had just thought of food, but Su Feng's stomach suddenly let out a complaint. Su Feng frowned and stopped thinking, intending to get out of bed and go to the cafeteria to solve the 5 organs temple before worrying about this problem. But just as he got out of bed and stepped on his slippers, Su Feng suddenly stung in the head. Host detected, entertainment transportation system successfully bound. When I miss home, my mother's family comes. It's just that the name of this mother's family makes it a bit difficult for Su Feng. After all, can cultural matters be called transportation? That's called introducing culture, exchanging ideas across time and space, and achieving harmony in win results. Before Su Feng could think more, the instructions for using the system rang in his mind. Congratulations to the host for binding this system. Whenever the host uses the work to make the emotions of readers, viewers, and listeners surge to a certain standard, they can receive numerical values. At the same time, they can also complete triggered tasks to receive rewards. After waiting for a moment, Su Feng's expression was strange and he said, "It's gone. It's so short." The system did not respond. Su Feng couldn't help but complain, this system doesn't look very smart. Su Feng, based on his limited memory of the golden finger in the system, did he remember correctly that this thing should have a panel and a beginner gift package, right? Open the panel. Su Feng muttered to himself. With a quick swipe, a light blue light curtain appeared in front of Su Feng. Host. Su Feng, novel. 0, song. 12, film and television. 0, other classifications to be explored. Tip. Each category value is calculated separately, and the rewards obtained for each category value reaching a certain stage or completing tasks derived from that category are not limited to that category, except for targeted task cards, System Warehouse. Although this panel is very simple, Su Feng discovered a magical thing, which is that the system panel also has an eye tracking function. When Su Feng looks at something, there will be a cursor there that will open it, such as this system repository with an exclamation mark. After the system warehouse was opened, the panels became grid-like, and the first grid was filled with something that Su Feng had just thought of but had not had time to ask for. A beginner gift package that the system had thoughtfully sent. No need to think, just open it directly. After staring for a second, the gift package opened with the commonly mentioned 50-cent special effect online. Then 2 items appeared in the warehouse. Random Works Extraction Card, Task Card *1, this beginner gift pack is a bit rudimentary. Su Feng didn't care about the task cards for now. He first intentionally opened these random work extraction cards. After opening, there was another 50-cent special effect, with a light blue light screen indicating, "Congratulations to the host for obtaining the entertainment novel work. Life's Eternal Regret for Water in the East, extract." Su Feng frowned, "I'm from the composition department. Your system doesn't provide songs, why give yourself a novel?" But doubts come from doubts, things still need to be extracted. Extract. In the next moment, Su Feng felt his head being fiercely thrust in, and the entire content of this novel was like a maggot of tarsal bones, fiercely engraved in Su Feng's brain. Moreover, Su Feng was able to quickly browse this memory through quantum reading within 2 seconds. At this moment, Su Feng only has 2 feelings. 1. Just now, I couldn't remember clearly. With the help of the system, the cultural and entertainment works were completely overcome. And the second one, this book has a bit of momentum, it's too sharp. In Su Feng's memory, this world seems to be filled with refreshing novels and almost impossible to see abusive texts. Can this become popular when published? Of course, it's better than nothing, but it's just a matter of roast. This system is not considerate at all. Although it can perfectly solve the problem that you can't remember the works, can't you send the Buddha to the West? Can't you just give me a USB flash drive to copy it? It's obvious in my mind that I want to copy it myself. Forget it, don't think about being incompatible with the environment for now. With the idea of using up the newbie gift package, Su Feng turned his gaze to the task card of the laborer. Although there is no prompt for this thing, based on its name, it is probably a randomly generated task or something like that. System, use task cards. As Su Feng had imagined. After speaking to the system, a curtain of light appeared in front of Su Feng's eyes. Ding. Detect the current situation of the host, calculation in progress. Calculation completed. Generation in progress. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the long-term main quest. The long-term main quest is completed in stages, and the quality of the quest rewards is gradually improving. The following is a brief introduction to this mission. Task brief. In the capital ideal country of art practitioners, whenever you see it, you cannot help but want to participate and leave a strong mark in this ideal country, becoming the only uncrowned king of this era. Task requirement. In each of the 7 major states in the world, gain recognition from over 95% of the population, and feel that you are the Mount Everest that stands at the pinnacle of all projects in the art world, becoming the uncrowned king that will not appear again in this era or even in the future for thousands or even thousands of years. Task Phase 1, Section 1. Beginners, host to publish a cultural and entertainment work, task reward. Task card *1, Su Feng squinted his eyes slightly, the uncrowned king. The cake drawn by this system for himself is quite anticipated. Just sharpening the knife won't delay the woodcutter. The system's pie drawing is too big, which has made Su Feng even hungry now, so let's go have a meal first. In the cafeteria, Su Feng had prepared his meal and had not taken a few bites when suddenly his phone rang. Su Feng took it out and saw the words, "Old Sister," in front of his eyes. Su Feng's elder sister's full name is Su Wanqiu. Su Feng took another bite of his meal and answered the phone vaguely, why did the old lady call me?" On the other end of the phone, Su Wanqiu forced herself to scold Su Fengjiao with a tired spirit, saying, "You stinky kid, how many times have you told me at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com? Call me sister, don't call me old sister, you're calling me old. Okay, my naturally beautiful sister, what can I do for you?" Su Wanqiu. After a few seconds of silence, Su Wanqiu finally explained to Su Feng the reason for calling him this time. "You stinky kid, you haven't asked me for money for almost 2 months now. Have you quietly gone to work and earn money again? Let me tell you, your current task is to honestly learn composition for me, and after graduation, strive to join one of the top 5 entertainment companies in Qinzhou. Don't worry about money, family, or anything else. When the sky falls, your sister is still in front of you. I have sent the money to you, and you can collect it yourself. Sister." Su Feng's heart warmed, but then came an endless stream of heartbreak. Of course, before Su Feng could finish speaking, a loud noise suddenly came from Su Wanqiu's side. It seemed that a colleague was saying that the editor-in-chief was going to have a meeting and asked Su Wanqiu to come quickly. Su Wanqiu immediately replied to herself and hurriedly said to Su Feng, "All right, stinky kid. I know what you're going to say, but I won't listen to those face-saving words. I just hope you can quickly become famous and buy a mud film for your sister when the time comes. Then hang up the phone." Su Feng was silent. He felt that the food in front of him was dull and tasteless, because he thought of one thing. Many years ago, on New Year's Eve, Su Wanqiu brushed her mobile phone to brush a video. For the first time, she knew that in addition to the kind of facial mask that covers the whole face, there was the kind of mud film that covers the face. Su Feng sniffed at it at the beginning. It was the mud mask. What was the excitement about this thing? Only Su Feng knew later that Su Wanqiu had been reluctant to buy an ordinary facial mask for so many years. Chapter 2. Making Money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Su Feng went back to the dormitory after finishing his meal. First, he hesitated to get the money for his elder sister's sake. Next, Su Feng had only one idea in his mind. To make money and buy a room of facial mask for his elder sister. Su Feng opened the computer that his older sister had bought him at the beginning of school and immediately began searching for the mythological history of this world. That's right, Su Feng plans to release this book, The Eternal Sorrow of Water in the East. Even if this book may not make a stir, he can only give it a try now. It's not a big deal to open another task and receive other normal rewards through the task card he obtained from this work. We don't believe it. Is everything given by the system all knife works? 10 minutes later, Su Feng nodded thoughtfully and whispered. It seems that the world here is not completely different. There are still significant differences in history, mythology, and so on. Erlang Xianxing Jinjuan still exists. At the same time, there is also the story of the Baoyan lamp splitting the mountain to save the mother. This is convenient for Su Feng. Don't worry about not having a mythological background. Everyone can watch as the protagonist of this book, Yang Jian, comes up with the idea of what this immortal is. Is this plot a second creation? Su Feng quickly opened the computer. Su Feng's hand speed was good, and coupled with the fact that the book had already been engraved in his brain by the system, there was no need to think. Su Feng transformed into a ruthless coding machine. At noon, Su Feng had already coded 30,000 words. Of course, Su Feng had not rested yet and continued. The roommates also finished their meal and came back. There were 4 people in Su Feng's dormitory. Due to Su Feng's daily work, there was very little communication between them. Basically, everyone was a nodding acquaintance, with the exception of Gong Rongliang, who had been roommates with Su Feng since elementary school until now in university. After the other 2 roommates entered, they were busy with their own affairs. Gong Rongliang came to Su Feng's side with a packaged meal, intending to give it to him. But as Gong Rongliang watched Su Feng tapping on the computer, he couldn't help but take a closer look and noticed that Su Feng seemed to be ecstatic after writing a novel, and he just gave Su Feng a tap on his shoulder. Old Su. You finally got the hang of it. You've heard about it too, haven't you? How many times have we told you that we are mental workers? What part-time physical labor do we do when we have free time? Su Feng was startled by Gong Rongliang's words and turned to him, rolling his eyes. Why did you go back to your dormitory? I remember you, a promiscuous lover, should be chasing after your beloved senior sister outside now. Stop talking. Gong Rongliang said as soon as he spoke of this, his whole body immediately drooped, covering his face in agony. Brother, it's already cement sealed and I don't love anymore. The first time I was tempted, it made me lose so thoroughly. My rank is too low, and I don't want to be a licking dog. Okay. Su Feng casually said a few words before continuing to shift his gaze to the novel in front of him and continue coding. Gong Rongliang felt heartbroken as he looked at Su Feng's reaction. He immediately shamelessly entangled himself with Su Feng and said, Old Su. You didn't comfort me. You've changed. Someone else is outside of you, right? It's a pity that I was worried that you might not be in the right state today and didn't attend class. I helped you answer and even brought you lunch. That's how you treated me. Pain. It hurts too much. Su Feng's head was covered in black lines and he said, I'm busy. Put your food aside for me. Ah. You didn't even say thank you. Gong Rongliang's face became even more desperate. Thank you, okay. Ha. You actually said thank you to me. Thank you. It's fading. Emotions are fading. Su Feng was even more speechless. Then I thank you for visiting your ancestors for 8 lifetimes. Ah. Gong Rongliang looked enjoying himself, yes. That's the feeling, it's comfortable, Su Feng. Come on, don't bother me, I'm still busy. Let's eat first. You're going to participate in that essay competition, and there's still 1 month left. What are you panicking about? What essay? Su Feng heard Gong Rongliang say it twice and became very interested in Gong Rongliang's words. Ah! Didn't you write a novel because you were going to participate in the all-state new novelist competition? What is this thing? Su Feng came and asked curiously. Don't you know? Gong Rongliang was a bit surprised. So what novel do you write? I just wanted to write. Is there a problem? Hurry up and tell me what this is. Okay, I thought you knew. Gong Rongliang whispered to himself before introducing himself. The evaluation of new novelists in Qinzhou is an activity jointly conducted by our top 3 book libraries in Qinzhou, aiming to discover talented novelists in Qinzhou. The first place winner has a prize of 200,000 yuan, and the rest decrease by 20,000 yuan until the 10th place winner. A total of 50 novelists are selected, with each of the remaining 40 to 10 people receiving 5,000 yuan. Most importantly, if you are selected, you can sign a contract with any of the top 3 book websites in Qinzhou, and then become a novelist. Oh! Su Feng's eyes flickered, which was a bit interesting. Is there a word limit for the subject matter? Although the word count may vary in length or medium length, it is necessary to complete all of it. As for the themes, I estimate that all the selected ones will be popular immortal heroes, urban characters, and so on. By the way, what are you writing? Let me, as the first reader, help you criticize and criticize. Forget it. Su Feng thought for Gong Rongliang's sake and decided not to let him see it. After all, it was very sharp. But when these words came to Gong Rongliang's ears, he thought Su Feng was shy. Gong Rongliang comforted him and patted Su Feng's shoulder, saying, Okay, if you don't look, then don't look. Brother knows this is your first time writing, and he's a bit shy, but he still believes in your ability. When the time comes, he'll give me 5,000 yuan and treat me to a bottle of cola. Upon hearing this, Su Feng asked in a strange and mysterious manner, Are you so certain that your buddy must be the last 40? Gong Rongliang's eyes suddenly looked at Su Feng strangely, and after a long time, he held back a sentence, Old Su, you can deceive your brothers, but don't deceive yourself. We have known each other since elementary school, and I don't hesitate to say that I now know that your underwear is gray. Both of us work as middle-level composers in our class, let alone writing novels. It's not bad if you can earn 5,000 yuan. Su Feng smiled and didn't respond, while Gong Rongliang shrugged and put down the rice he had packed for Su Feng. He then ran back to his bed and lay down emo, looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. After all, the brothers found a new direction, but their love was gone. For the next week, Su Feng could be described as forgetting to sleep and eat, and not attending classes. Gong Rongliang helped Su Feng buy food and answered, but Su Feng spent at least half of his time writing down this book in his mind 24 hours a day. Finally, he finished coding all of this book, Life Hates Water Changdong, before having lunch on 2 or 14 afternoons. On average, it costs 5,000 yuan per hour. Su Feng spent more than 10 minutes checking for spelling errors, and then searched online for the evaluation of new and emerging novelists among university students in Quanzhou that Gong Rongliang had just mentioned. Su Feng clicked on the relevant search and looked at the introduction of this essay again, realizing that it was almost the same as what Gong Rongliang had said. He then clicked on the submit button, inserted the content he had just coded into the attachment as required, and followed the system prompts to write the book title. He quickly arrived at the final step. The system requires Su Feng to give himself a pen name and write a brief introduction to this work. Su Feng touched his chin and wrote a small poem he had memorized during his compulsory education in the introduction section, The forest flowers withered in spring, too hasty. Helplessly, the cold rain came from morning and the wind came from evening, rouge and tears, leaving each other drunk, how long will it be heavy? It is the eternal hatred of water in one's life. Then Su Feng fixed his gaze on the line of his pen name and silently typed 3 words. Pleasant goat. It is obvious that this anime does not exist in this world, but Su Feng hopes that after reading this novel, including future works, everyone will feel joyful like the meaning of these 3 words. Don't worry, he will definitely copy some works that are not knives in the future. I hope readers in this world don't scold me, and I don't want to either. After praying in his heart, Su Feng clicked the publish button. Chapter 3. Work Review. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. After Su Feng sent this novel, the system did not prompt to complete the task, and Su Feng also understood. According to the rules of this essay solicitation, only after the end of 1 month will the top 50 works that are considered eligible for this essay solicitation be released, and then readers will be allowed to read and vote independently for a week to determine the final ranking. The system generally believes that it has not been officially released yet. So Su Feng is not in a hurry either. Anyway, as a student now, although he has a system, the essential task cannot be forgotten. Su Feng simply devoted himself wholeheartedly to his studies. And as this learning began, Su Feng was surprised to find that he seemed to have a natural talent for composition. Many people avoid things such as music theory, harmony, musical form and composition analysis, polyphony, orchestration, etc., but Su Feng finds their joy. The notes seem to have life in front of Su Feng, constantly jumping, luring him into their own ocean. Su Feng's level of composition has made rapid progress as he gradually learns. At the same time, as Su Feng sank into the ocean of learning. The selection team for the All-State New Novelists competition is still 1 week away from the end of this event. This time, the 3 libraries have all invested great attention in this activity. Of course, ultimately it is because the local novels in Qinzhou have begun to have a sense of decline, while the emerging forces in Qizhou and Hanzhou are gradually catching up, which has made the libraries in Qinzhou feel a great sense of crisis. Our leader's position cannot be lost. 3 libraries, each with at least 4 editors and 1 editor-in-chief, have invested a luxurious lineup. This morning, Qi Zhe, the editor-in-chief of Tianya Bookstore, ranked 3rd in Qinzhou, planned to review novels submitted by the back-end like a sea of smoke, as usual. Let him calculate, it seems like he needs to read the novel submitted 3 days ago today. Qi Zhe opened the back-end and retrieved the submitted novels, each one flowing through his review. Half an hour later, Qi Zhe couldn't help but click. No wonder our identity as the leader of Qinzhou has begun to decline. The level of this backbone is gradually declining. Speaking of himself, he has read so many books in the past few days, and there are many novels that stand on the shoulders of others. The general development of the routine has led to a long period of time after Su Feng's hometowns, Doupa Zhangqi, became popular, and the trend of getting divorced appeared like stars. Of course, the review still needs to be carried out. Soon, under the review of this editor-in-chief, Su Feng's novel, Life's Eternal Sorrow. The Water Heading East, appeared in his sight. Qi Zhe saw the book's famous mouth twitching. This name cannot be said to be completely unattractive, it can only be said that it is not as good as the few books he just read. He can't even tell what this novel is about. If it were during his regular work hours, he wouldn't even open it. Unfortunately, this time the selection has ordered that all novels must be read in the first 100,000 words. Helplessly, Qi Zhe opened the submission details page. The first thing that caught his eye was Su Feng's specially chosen pen name, followed by a brief introduction that the website had asked Su Feng to write. The flowers in the forest have withered in spring, it's too hasty. Helplessly, the cold rain comes from the morning and the wind comes from the evening. The rouge and tears leave each other drunk, how long will it be heavy? Since life has always hated the water in the east. This Qi Zhe leaned close to his neck and recited the small poem with a slightly surprised expression. To be honest, now this editor-in-chief is interested. After all, this introduction is a bit unconventional. It's been so many days since I first saw someone write a word to describe their novel. And reading this poem feels very flavorful. He is a poetry enthusiast himself, and he can be certain that it is the original work of this pleasant goat. Well written. I didn't expect the author to have this kind of talent for writing poetry. I feel like with this poem alone, he can submit it to the Chinjo Poetry Association. Is this book title derived from this word? After murmuring a few words, Chizé still turned his gaze back. After all, sighing is all about lamenting. It's not related to the selection of novels and poetry. This editor-in-chief has pointed out the main content of this novel. First, take a look at the positioning of this pleasant goat. Long story, myth. The word count is 840,000 words. Chizé didn't react and turned his gaze to the beginning. Chapter 1. Knowing the heart with a light, Yang Jian's hand came to a halt as it touched the throat of Agarwood. Despite his instinct to fight for thousands of years, he still found the fatal flaw of Agarwood. But so what? It was time for everything to come to an end. The only child to win was this one, although there was still a considerable gap between this child and his expectations. Chizé pouts, Yang Jian. Is this the second creation of ancient mythological stories? This editor-in-chief has read a novel about Yang Jian, but today is indeed the first time I have read a novel about the protagonist being Yang Jian. It's a bit interesting, let's keep looking. Chizé's novels are quite fast, after all, reading them every day, how can't I exercise my speed? As Chizé gradually watched, many ideas also emerged in his heart. The writing style of this novel is good, and the setting is also bold. The Jade Emperor and Jade Mother are just dead creatures created by Fuxi and Yuhua, only to maintain the balance of the three realms, without any emotions. The children they give birth to are also dead creatures. Wow, I also wrote about the three princes and Chang'e. Oh, this Chang'e plot is a bit interesting. As time passed, Chizé quietly sank into what he believed to be the second creation of this ancient mythological story. Of course, as Chizé watched, his expression gradually became strange. He watched Yang Jian being misunderstood and abused by his family, and his mood was as sticky as asphalt that was about to solidify. Under the influence of emotions, Chizé's heart felt like being constantly kneaded by a big hand. Time flies by. Accidentally, Chizé saw 5 in the afternoon at 9 in the morning. It can be said that one forgets to sleep and eat. In such a lonely three realms, you and I have long been unable to exist alone without each other. Are you determined to tell me everything and let me share this heavy secret for the sake of this reluctant attachment? She smiled so and chased forward, walking shoulder to shoulder with Agarwood. The gentle gait complements the husband's steady walking, interweaving an incredibly harmonious rhythm. The morning light sprayed out from the east, stretching the shadows of the two on the mountain road. The morning breeze blew by, but I saw the two of them fluttering in their clothes, entwined and entwined, like the most perfect divine couple in the world. End of the text, Golu. Chizé's stomach let out a complaint, but he ignored it completely. At this moment, his whole body seemed to have been drained of strength, lying on the chair in a dull state, with pain reflected in his divergent gaze. In 9 hours, by the time he finished work, he had read a total of 840,000 words in this book. Life's eternal sorrow flows east. If he is forced to say something at this moment, he just wants to say, go to NM. What am I doing with this novel? I'm sick. I definitely have a serious illness. Tired. This novel is not meant to be read by anyone. He admitted that this novel was indeed well written, giving him a completely different perspective from Yang Jian, but he really wanted to give this happy lamb a spoonful. Damn it. Why is it written so cruelly? You are definitely an antisocial personality. No, I can't be the only one feeling uncomfortable. Chiziqiang mentioned his tired body and the soul that had been stabbed countless times. Open the backend again and find this novel on the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. In this selection, each editor-in-chief is qualified to directly give a ranking, believing that the novel they have read is worth ranking. If he thinks it should come first, then this novel will enter the backstage of all the editors in charge, allowing everyone to watch it uniformly. Of course, this selection has been going on for so long, and so far no editor has given such a ranking. But now it's different. He thinks this book deserves to be the first of its kind. He directly submitted the button worth ranking first to the book in the background, while giving his own opinion that it could be ranked first. The second creation of classical mythological stories is very charming in this novel, portrayed by the god Erlang. It needs to be capable, with a broad mind, willing to hide for the sake of the overall situation, willing to endure everyone's doubts in order to achieve the goal of great love. Although it is different from the popular belief in the market, it definitely has the first strength in this selection. Then he stood up and prepared to go eat and then leave work. However, for some reason, he watched his colleagues in the same selection room with a grim expression all the way and whispered something, "Let's all take a look." And this book had already appeared first in the background of all the reviewing editors of this selection group while Zhiyu was whispering. Everyone saw the book suddenly flashing with fluorescence, and everyone opened their mouths wide. Oh yo! After so long, finally someone thinks there can be a novel that can rank first. At this moment, those who have novels in their hands plan to finish reading them quickly and then read this one. Those who don't have them can't wait to open this novel. And at this moment, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but the clouds outside are gradually rolling up, giving off a look of pouring rain. Chapter 4. Is there such a good thing in the world? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. A week later, the results of the statewide new novelist selection were officially released. The results of this selection have also attracted significant investment from the three libraries. As long as you enjoy reading novels, you will definitely know about this selection. A junior student named Xiaojing Xian from Qinzhou University of Science and Technology. He is a fanatic of novels, spending at least 4 hours a day on them. Xiaojing Xian has been looking forward to this selection of new and talented novelists in the whole state for a long time, but this time not only because he likes to read novels, but also because of a more important reason. He also submitted his article this time well. Just after class, he rushed back to his dormitory without stopping, opened his computer, found the web page he was following, and refreshed it. In this submission, the editors believe that the works in the top 50 have emerged prominently. The top 50 books pushed out by the three libraries this time were not ranked, but presented to Xiaojing Xian in alphabetical order. The specific ranking should be decided by the readers themselves, with a preliminary ranking appearing 1 day later and a final ranking determined 1 week later. Xiaojing Xuan's eyes were fixed and he immediately searched for his own book by the first letter of his title. Soon, he didn't see his own book. Xiaojing Xian was a bit angry and said, "What's going on? My masterpiece didn't make it into the top 50. He wants to see what the highlights of these 50 books are." Xiaojing Xian randomly clicked on a book called De Dao Xiaoyao, and spent 10 minutes reading the first 20 chapters. After that, Xiaojing Xian withdrew and muttered with evasive eyes, "Surprise, this is an accident. He does deserve it, but not necessarily the other 40.9 books." He opened the second book, and a few minutes later, familiar words reappeared. Xiaojing Xian reluctantly murmured, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Are you writing so well one by one? How does it feel like they're all professional players? All of them are old bottles of new wine, they are all vest monsters." Xiaojing Xian calmed his jealousy for a moment, his eyes wandering around the remaining novels. He had to find a book that looked average today, otherwise he would be so jealous that he couldn't sleep tonight. Looking for Xiaojing Xian, I saw the work submitted by Su Feng. Speaking of the book, Eternal Regret for Water in the East. Firstly, as the editor-in-chief at Tianya Bookstore, Zhiyu brought this novel to the forefront. After all the editors finished reading it, their feelings were similar to his, and the writing was indeed good. However, the key is that it is far from the current market, and there is a high possibility that it may not be suitable for the local environment. Once it is published, it may cause some public opinion. Everyone hesitated for a moment whether to let it be selected. In the end, the leader of this evaluation group came from the editor-in-chief of Haoyue Bookstore. With a big wave of his hand, our activity is to discover new talented novelists. How can we not choose this book just because it contradicts the current market? The only flaw in this book is its cuteness, but can you say it's not good-looking? Obviously, it's impossible. If this book doesn't look good and only has the attribute of a knife, will the entire editorial department still finish reading it? We are not TikTok. After a final discussion, diversified development, we just believe that it can be in the top 50. Let readers evaluate its specific ranking within a week. Moreover, if the ranking of this novel is at the end by then, it can also serve as a reminder that this genre is not suitable in the current market and can provide a way for everyone to avoid lightning strikes. Xiao Jingxian has just opened this book, The Eternal Regret of Life in the East, and is preparing to make a review. The first thing that caught the eye was the small word that caught the eye of the editor at Tianya Bookstore. Of course, Xiao Jingxian had no feelings. After all, he was not a fan of poetry, nor did he know the quality of this poem. For him, as long as it was a poem, there was no feeling of being forced to read it, it was just amazing. Like this book, his first impression was that the author was a bit interesting, and he even found a source for the title. Then he opened the novel and began reading it. At the beginning, Xiao Jingxuan's feelings were like Qi Zai's feelings for this book. The writing style is good, and the settings are also a bit interesting. The story slowly began to captivate him. The Jade Emperor intentionally left the water mirror of Fuxi in the mortal world to test how much magic Yang Jian still had. The nine-spirit cave monster used a water mirror to suck the three holy mothers, Agarwood, and Xiaoyu into the mirror, while Lu Yanchang, China, Baihua, the eighth prince, the fourth princess, Neza, Kong Lauda, and others were outside the mirror. Later, they saw Yang Jian's past in the mirror and saw that it was the mischievous three holy mothers when they were young. Yang Jian only revealed his magical power to save his sister, which led to the Jade Emperor sending someone to destroy his family. However, Yao Ji only blamed Yang Jian. Seeing the hardships Yang Jian has put in to raise his younger sister, seeing that Hou Yi betrayed Chang'e and attempted to steal spiritual medicine, but unexpectedly died, Yang Jian transformed into Hou Yi in order to prevent his image from being shattered in Chang'e's heart. He spent 3 months with Chang'e, and Chang'e always felt that although Hou Yi did not have any skin relatives during these 3 months, she felt the most nostalgic. I saw that there was a male and female pair of Baoyan lanterns, and Yang Jian had a male lantern. However, in order to save Neza, he used the male lantern to make Neza's body. Seeing that Lu Yanchang actually wanted to marry someone else during the imprisonment of the three sacred mothers, Yang Jian cast a spell on him, making his feelings for the three sacred mothers unwavering, caring for the Agarwood wholeheartedly, and so on. At this moment, Xiao Jingxian had already watched half of it. The novel story made him want to instinctively click on the next chapter to watch the next plot, but his mood was extremely heavy at the moment. His arm seemed to have a stroke, and he couldn't click on it. Looking at what Yang Jian did, he couldn't understand. What Yang Jian is doing now is indeed like a gentleman. A true heavenly god. But why? It hurts too much. He really wants to rush up to Yang Jian and loudly tell him, "Can't you stop being so selfish? Why do we have to sacrifice ourselves and benefit the sky?" At this moment it was almost evening and Xiao Jingxuan's roommate had already returned. Everyone looked at Xiao Jingxian, who was in a completely different state at the moment, and one by one approached him. "Xiao Jingxian, what are you doing?" Xiao Jingxian turned his head and was about to speak, but his 3 roommates were startled and said, "Oh my God! What's wrong with you, old Xiao? Are you heartbroken?" "No," Xiao Jingxian shook his head. The roommates became puzzled and said, "Ah. What's wrong with you? Your eyes are red, you just cried. What are you crying for?" A man can't shed tears easily. Right, right. Another roommate also comforted, isn't it just a breakup? Why are you crying? Look, my buddy will immediately recommend 20 women to you. Xiao Jingshuan's scalp was really tingling from his roommate's concern. He quickly stopped his roommate and said helplessly, I'm really not heartbroken anymore. Do you know the All-State Emerging Novels competition? I know. I remember you participated, didn't you? How was it? Oh. I understand. The roommate who said he was going to recommend 20 girls to Xiao Jingxian just now joked in his eyes, did he not get selected? Oh, this is all a small matter. Otherwise, buddy, take you out to play. No. Xiao Jingxian quickly spoke up, can you listen to me finish? I saw a novel in this evaluation. There was some silence in the dormitory, and after a long time, the other three roommates spoke softly, let me check, did you just cry? Xiao Jingxian nodded reluctantly, unwilling to admit that he had cried while reading a novel. The roommate continued, and the reason you cried was because you read a novel. Xiao Jingxian nodded. In an instant, the dormitory fell silent, completely silent. After a few seconds, a sudden pop shattered the silence. Following the sound of a popping sound, it seemed as if the switch had been turned on, and the dormitory seemed to have turned into an amusement park. Laughter kept coming and filling the cramped dormitory. Xiao Jingxian was annoyed and said, why are you laughing? The three roommates forced themselves not to mention the corners of their mouths. They looked at Xiao Jingshuan's unhappy expression after being mocked and quickly corrected it, saying, we just remembered something happy. Right, right. Don't worry, we definitely don't laugh at you just because you cry after reading a novel. Will we mock you for this kind of thing in our relationship? The expressions of the three roommates at this moment were very serious and serious. Okay, okay. Xiao Jingxian was overjoyed and spoke directly to the three evil beasts, don't panic and mock me for now. If you have the ability, come and see for yourself. Hee hee. A disdainful expression appeared in the eyes of the three roommates. Please send out the title of the book. Don't worry. Xiao Jingshuan's eyes flickered, and he had an idea in his heart. He knew the killing power of this book. So, let's bet on tomorrow's breakfast. If you react better than me after reading it, I'll make it up to you. Oh my. The three roommates were all in high spirits. Is there such a good thing these days? Hurry up to deliver breakfast. The three of them immediately looked at each other, and without a word, they reached a tacit agreement with the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, dare you bet a little more? Brother, bet with you for a month. Oh yo. Come on. Xiao Jingxian laughed, is there still such a good thing these days? Come on. Send out the book title. Let me see what's going on. I'm done with this breakfast. Jesus can't even stop me. Old Xiao has spent a lot of money. Xiao Jingxian looked at the arrogant faces of these three people and smiled. After seeing the title of the book sent by Xiao Jingxian, the three roommates began reading with disdainful eyes, and Xiao Jingxian took a deep breath, feeling conflicted for a long time. I thought I had read it all, but at least I finished reading it. His expression was resolute, like a warrior walking towards the execution ground, and he clicked on the follow up in the end. Everyone learned about Yang Jian's hard work and wanted to treat him well after appearing on camera. In the battle with Fuxi Water Mirror, Ong Jian attached his true essence to the Baoyan lamp and ultimately defeated Fuxi Water Mirror. At this time, Yang Jian was also seriously injured and was rescued by the Roaring Dog. Yang Jian erased the memory of the Roaring Dog, and in the end, the Roaring Dog became a stray dog. And Yang Jian was taken away by the Jade Emperor, making him a sacrificial offering on the Fengshan platform, eliminating the common evil karma of all beings in the three realms. In order to prevent everyone from collapsing over Yang Jian's death, Chen Xiang used a golden lock to create a phantom of Yang Jian, making everyone think that Yang Jian was still alive. A piece of Fushi's water mirror pierced into Agarwood's eyes, making her one-eyed. However, Agarwood could also see many things that others couldn't see. Agarwood has become a new judicial deity, driving China crazy. In order to make a deal for the longevity of lilacs, the 8th prince was ordered to kill the villagers of Liujia village for him, allowing them to return to reincarnation. As a result, the 8th prince became the confidant of Agarwood. The 4th princess became the guardian dragon under the throne of the Xitigarbha. In the end, Agarwood told Xiaoyu the truth and asked her to share everything with him. Chapter 5. Have people become TikTok now? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, the next day at 11 o'clock. For college students, the dormitory area before 12 o'clock is quiet because everyone hasn't woken up yet. But today, another form appeared in Xiao Jingshuan's dormitory. That is, it started but not completely. The 4 big men in the dormitory only slept for less than 3 hours last night. Now their brains are in chaos, but they just don't want to go to bed. They are sitting on their seats with unkempt hair and swollen eye bags. Last night, 4 people in this dormitory spent the whole night reading this book, The Eternal Sorrow of Life in the East. Is the final result. Undoubtedly, the 3 of them were convinced last night, and Xiao Jingxian won the bet, but now he has no interest in making them 3. Redemption of one's own bet. The momentum of this book is really great. A dormitory with 4 people, the 3 roommates who made a bet with Xiao Jingxian yesterday, counted the time from the moment they opened it, and half an hour became a clear dividing line. Half an hour ago, the 3 of them occasionally heard a few disdainful or exclaimed at the book's setting, but half an hour later, their exclamation significantly decreased. After a few more minutes, the entire dormitory fell silent. An hour later, there were occasional sounds of gasping for breath in the dormitory. 2 hours later, there was a continuous sound of brushing toilet paper in the dormitory. After a moment of silence, 4 people in the dormitory stood up one by one in tacit agreement, walked to the balcony outside the dormitory, and the sound of a lighter was heard. And now, in the suddenly silent dormitory, there was a hoarse cry, "Old Xiao." Xiao Jingxian turned his head in silence and said, "What's wrong?" "I regret it." "Did you regret watching it or did you regret betting on me?" "No." My roommate shook his head, "I regret being born in this legal era, this ghostly writer. Don't let me know where he is." As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately received the agreement of the other 2 people. One stone stirred up 1,000 waves, and everyone's expressions were full of excitement. Yes. This thief must die hard. Damn it. Beat him to death. What did he write? Anti-social, right? The angry voices filled the dormitory like yesterday's laughter, and the 3 of them's tired eyes were replaced by a strong ruthlessness, as if they really knew Su Feng's real address. They might even run over and give him a brick. Of course, at the same time, Su Feng, the thief they were talking about, had just finished his course and was preparing to go eat. Qinzhou University of the Arts. Su Feng, who had just finished the music theory analysis class, was packing up his things while chatting and farting with Gong Rongliang. Gong Rongliang brushes the software in the world similar to what TikTok calls TK. He discovers a new continent, and unconsciously mentions it. He hurriedly puts his mobile phone in front of Su Feng to greet him. Su Feng gave a hug. Above is a conversation. Nurse. May I ask what you are doing at the hospital, me? I'm just browsing around when I'm free. I heard there's an ultrasound here. Su Feng. Su Feng looked at Gong Rongliang with a strange expression and said, "What are you looking at all day, kid?" He. Gong Rongliang's lips lit up, "Do you understand?" Nonsense. By the way, when teacher Rongguang comes to class, will you grab it? Gong Rongliang put away his phone and said, this must be a fight. Teacher Rongguang, the general leader of the composition group of Dawn Entertainment at Qinzhou First Entertainment Company, our most amazing music dad in Qinzhou, will give us a lesson on this little karami. Even if we don't get it, I will go. Su Feng nodded satisfied and said, okay. Just wait for your words, then you can help me occupy a spot. Hey! Gong Rongliang laughed angrily, son thief. I see you're becoming more and more shameless. Su Feng waved his hand indifferently and said, I learned from you. Good, good. Gong Rongliang raised his finger and smiled helplessly, because my father has such good habits that if you don't learn, what will you learn from day to night? Come on. Let's treat you to dinner. Ah. Gong Rongliang's pupils were surprised, have you grown up? Are you going or not? Let's go, let's go. Gong Rongliang quickly pushed Su Feng's buttocks towards the cafeteria. The meal had just been prepared here, and Su Feng was about to start. Before the meal was even delivered to his mouth, a sudden light curtain appeared in his mind, following closely in his eyes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the first stage, the first section of the task of publishing a cultural and entertainment work, system reward. Task card *1 has been issued to the system warehouse, ding. Please ask the host to choose whether to consume one task card to obtain the second section of the novice task. Sail and set sail. Su Feng's mouth twitched, does this main task still require him to spend one task card? Are you really so meticulous and meticulous? Never mind, I can't bear to let the child fall for the wolf. Let's consume it. Obtaining the second section of the beginner's cottage task. Setting sail and setting sail, the specific evaluation criteria are as follows. Reward for a category value exceeding 5,000. Targeted task card *1, reward for a category with a value of over 10,000. Randomly select one entertainment work *1, reward for two categories with values above 10,000. Random entertainment skill extraction *1, rewards for three categories with a value of over 10,000. Targeted entertainment works extraction card *1, targeted entertainment skills extraction card *1, the above completion timelines are all 1 month, and will be automatically issued when the standards are met. By the way, now that the task of releasing cultural and entertainment works has been completed, doesn't that mean that the evaluation of new and emerging novelists in the whole state is finally about to begin? At this moment, Gong Rongliang, sitting across from him, was puzzled and said, Old Su, why don't you eat? Eat your food, there are many problems. Oh. Gong Rongliang complained discontentedly before burying his head and starting to eat. And Su Feng had already taken out his phone and immediately found the official website of Quanzhou Emerging Novelists, on the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. After a day, the preliminary ranking has now appeared. Su Feng was planning to swipe the screen to the bottom to find his novel, but just as he touched the screen, Su Feng rubbed his eyes. Why is the name so familiar? I'm not sure, take another look. Hiss. Is this really the ranking that my novel should have? The ranking for this selection is based on a recommendation vote mechanism. That is to say, each person has 3 votes a day, and you can only vote for them after reading a novel for 10 minutes. The recommended vote ranking is the total ranking, and of course, you can also give a novel a rating. The rating mechanism is to avoid a 1000th problem. If the recommended vote is the same, then it depends on the rating. And now the number of votes for this book, Eternal Sorrow Over Water, is 15742. Score 9.4. Ranked 13th in total, scored 1st. Good guy. How does Su Feng evaluate this? Su Feng's original speculation was that the ranking of this book on the first day of publication was probably in the 30s, or even lower. After all, after the release of this book, Su Feng took a few glances at the novel market in Qinzhou, including the other 6 major states, and really didn't see many hot and abusive articles. The following novel may slowly climb under the influence of word-of-mouth fermentation, but in the end, Su Feng himself only dares to think about the 10th position. As for the top 3, Su Feng couldn't even think about it. But the fact now is that on the first day of scoring, this novel has reached its 13th place. And it's less than 200 votes away from the previous one. Is it difficult now that everyone has become TikTok? Do you all enjoy reading abusive texts? Chapter 6. Fire, really fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, of course, all of this was just Su Feng's own imagination. How could netizens possibly be TikTok? Netizens are all demons. Simply put, what happened yesterday was entirely due to people like Xiao Jingxian, who have achieved such high results in The Longest Regret for Water. Just as he recommended this novel to his roommates, many people who have read it cannot help but recommend it to their friends. Then they use the recommendation reason of being immortal and cool. The male lead has a positive outlook, and is extremely protective of the calf. Of course there must be some who don't believe it, but the brain circuits of these demons are terrifying. In order to deceive them into reading this novel, I forcefully changed the wording and told the overall plot once. For example, the comment that is currently at the top of the review section of Longevity in Life: this book is a pure and refreshing novel. The protagonist Yang Jian is extraordinary in martial arts, with unparalleled intelligence and strategy. He plays with the Jade Emperor and Queen Mother, while the Supreme Old Lord advances and retreats with ease amidst various conspiracies and tricks in the heavenly court. Finally, after 1,000 years of layout, he modifies the heavenly rule, reunites the 3 holy mothers, and improves the heavenly rule. This comment has received over 50,000 likes. What concept? You should know that the recommended votes for this book are only over 10,000 now. And most of the other comments are also positive, saying that the writing style is good, the settings are good, and it's worth taking a look. Those recommended by their friends just ask, "Are you confused?" But when they clicked into this book and saw these words, "Mother doesn't take me as her son, sister doesn't take me as her brother. What's the point of keeping me between heaven and earth? I can't enjoy the joy of family like a mortal, nor can I be reckless like a demon. Fairy, living like me is just a huge joke." They fell silent. This TM is Xuanwen. Fuck you, Grandma. The first time they were reading a novel, they hoped that the protagonist would die soon and let those people know the truth. Each one was so special that I felt ashamed to death. But their idea did come true. But unfortunately, in the end, when everything was too late, and in the end, Yang Jian's death was for the sake of all beings in heaven and earth. All the netizens who were deceived into seeing this place now have only one thought in their minds. Dragon-slaying warriors will eventually become evil dragons. Isn't this a cool article? Then it's like their friends coming to trick them into reading this book. They used the same trick to deceive their friends to come and see. You also have to suffer the injury I've suffered. And then, like a virus, it spread 10 times and 100 times. Unexpectedly, a novel even turned into an unexploded Ponzi scheme. Even though Su Feng was still puzzled, there was still a constant stream of people watching this novel and repeating this step. And the performance of this novel is also climbing at an unimaginable speed. Su Feng finished his meal and was about to return to his dormitory to study the new tasks issued by the system when his communication software suddenly rang and someone added it. Su Feng looked at the remarks from the visitor. The organizing committee for the selection of new novelists in the whole state. Su Feng understood, this is to discuss the publication of the novel with himself. After Su Feng added it, a message immediately came from the opposite side. "Excuse me, is it Teacher Pleasant Goat? What's up with you coming to me for?" On the other end of the phone, I started reporting my home door and said, "Hello, Teacher Shiyang. We are from the Haoyue bookstore under the organizing committee of the All-State New Novelist Selection. According to the rules, your creation of Life Everlasting Regret Water Changdong will enter the charging channel in a week. We saw the information you submitted earlier, but you did not sign a bookstore. Do you have any idea that our Haoyue bookstore will help you with the distribution? After pondering for a moment, Su Feng finally asked Haoyue to provide a signing standard, but did not explicitly indicate whether he wanted to sign or not. Because Su Feng seems to remember correctly, his older sister seems to belong to the Tianya bookstore. After all, fat and water do not flow into the fields of outsiders. According to Su Feng's investigation, the gradual decline of novels in Qinzhou has led to an infinite narrowing of the gap between Tianya bookstore and Haoyue bookstore. After all, everyone is struggling, and the gap is actually limited to the reserves of novel authors accumulated over so many years. The specific distribution channels are not bad, so Su Feng thinks it's better to give his sister a performance. Well, Su Feng has just finished chatting with Haoyue, and there are only 2 libraries left. Tianya and the layman have contacted Su Feng. At the beginning, the 2 families also expressed their attitudes like a bright moon. I want to sign Su Feng. Su Feng put on a show and asked both families to provide their own quotes. Then, he contacted the person from Tianya bookstore and secretly stated that he had heard from his friend that they had an editor named Xingzi who was good and wanted to talk to her. Tianya bookstore is so happy here, there are acquaintances here. Immediately, the person from Tianya bookstore who was in contact with Su Feng reported to the headquarters and asked Xingzi, the flower name taken by Su Feng's elder sister Su Wanqiu, to contact Su Feng. In the office of the editor-in-chief of Tianya bookstore, Su Wanqiu looked at the editor in front of her in a daze, whom she had never had the chance to see before. The editor-in-chief earnestly said to Su Wanqiu, Xiao Su, I remember correctly. It seems like you have been working for 2.5 years now, right? Our library is going to open a new editorial team recently, lacking a deputy editor-in-chief. Do you understand what I mean? Ah. Su Wanqiu was taken aback for a moment and immediately realized that she was about to be blessed with inexplicable wealth and prosperity. She went to the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Su Wanqiu gritted her teeth and fought hard. Su Wanqiu issued this military order. As soon as she returned to her position, Su Wanqiu prepared to add the contact information for her pleasant goat based on this information. When adding, Su Wanqiu, who was in a good mood, was thinking about how to get this pleasant goat to sign him, while also thinking about which author of her own recommended her to this pleasant goat. Wait a moment, she needs to ask. We must thank this author. But 2 seconds later, Su Wanqiu searched based on the contact information provided by the library and was about to add her as Xingzi from Tianya library when she was stunned. Because the communication software prompted that she had already added this person. And her note is. Stinky little brother Su Wanqiu rubbed her eyes fiercely, and immediately looked at the contact information provided by the library and the number she had typed. That's right. Why is it my own brother? A bold guess was born, and Su Wanqiu immediately stood up and went to the stairwell to call her brother. After a few beeps, the phone answered, and Su Feng spoke up directly. Sister, how's it going? Surprise or not? Surprise or not? As soon as these words were spoken, there was no need to ask. Su Wanqiu knew that there was no recommendation from any of her own authors. It turned out that it was all this stinky kid who had saved up for her. Su Wanqiu pursed her thin lips and didn't know what to say. This feeling is very subtle. Even Su Wanqiu had a feeling of heaven and earth fading. After finally holding it for half a day, Su Wanqiu whispered, I'm really surprised. Chapter 7. Completing Tasks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Su Feng couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth on the phone and continue to ask, what do you think, old lady? Do you want to share your thoughts with me now? Do you really want to listen? Su Wanqiu pondered for a moment before saying. That's for sure. Su Wanqiu said in a deep voice, I want to kill you. No need to praise. Su Feng was stunned. He hugged his phone number and it was indeed his older sister. So why is this? Why? You stinky kid, should I wear less or eat less for you? Look at what you're writing. Do you know your sister's crying after reading this book you're writing? When the data exploded yesterday, all the editors from the 3 major libraries here were asked to read this book and analyze why it became popular. As the editor of Jinya Bookstore, Su Wanxiu must have read it too. At that time, Su Wanxiu had similar thoughts as most netizens. Is this a novel that humans can write? The absolute psychology behind writing this book and novel is dark, so why the knife? Ah. Su Feng nervously touched his nose and hurriedly said, Sister, novels, artistic expression techniques. Su Feng is well aware that netizens are just saying they want to kill her, but her older sister is different. She really knows her address. Alright. Su Wanxiu felt a touch of tenderness and pride deep in her eyes, and her voice became much lighter. Let's not talk about that. Your kid wrote well, and I didn't realize that you actually have this talent. Moreover, you can still think of thinking for your sister. Your sister is very pleased that she hasn't raised you in vain for so many years. That's it. Su Feng heard his older sister's gradually softened words and became bolder, but Su Wanxiu changed her tone as she spoke. Su Wanxiu sternly said, By the way, Su Feng, I have to ask you something. You keep saying. What do you think about your future? Your novel is indeed well written and you can become a novelist in the future, but what about composition? Are you giving up? No, it's not. How could Su Feng possibly give up? After all, not only does Su Feng enjoy composing music now, but the main task given by the system, the uncrowned king, states that he wants to become the Mount Everest of all art projects in this world. Su Feng half-jokingly said to Su Wanxiu, Sister, your brother's future path has already been planned, and both literary and artistic styles have blossomed. Su Wanxiu was amused by Su Feng's words. What is her brother, Grid? She doesn't know yet. Let's just listen to the flourishing of literary and artistic styles. Forget it, Su Wanxiu thought for a moment and decided not to dampen Su Feng's enthusiasm. As for boys, having dreams is good. Anyway, he has broken his wings, and there is still her at home. You can have both literary and artistic styles. As long as you know what you are doing, after all, you are also old and I don't want to worry too much about you. Let me tell you the signing standards for our Jinya bookstore. Su Feng was too lazy to listen and said directly to Su Wanxiu, Sister, you can arrange it, but don't say we know each other. Nonsense. Su Wanxiu was speechless. Do you think your older sister is foolish? How could I say we know each other? Not only will I feel uncomfortable, but you will also feel uncomfortable. Alright, sister, I'll be busy with things for now. Well, pay attention to your body and eat some meat. Got it. Hang up the phone. Su Wanxiu put away her phone and stood in the stairwell, her pupils focused, gazing at the gloomy sky through the window. After a moment, she curved her lips and said, The weather is nice today. After hanging up on the phone, half an hour later, Su Wanxiu sent Su Feng the signing conditions given by Jinya Bookstore. In fact, most bookstores in this world follow the path of physical publishing. The reason why we chose to watch online for this evaluation is mostly because it can lower the cost. Finally, Su Feng signed with Jinya Bookstore. It's just that it's not the signer, it's the signing of the document. The contract sent from Jinya Bookstore is that The Eternal Regret of Life in the Water of Changdong will be divided into 3 volumes for printing, with 100,000 copies printed on each volume, and then sold for 25 copies each. Su Feng will enjoy a 7% royalty. Firstly, the royalty is not low. You should know that the royalties for newcomers are usually only about 3% to 5%, and even in Su Feng's hometown, there is no profit. Giving you 100,000 yuan is already considered good. 7% of Su Feng's success this time was due to the eerie popularity of the book, The Longest Regret in Life. To be honest, Su Feng is now a pioneer of abusive literature in Qinzhou. Of course, another reason is that the Tianya bookstore is the top priority for the next book. The number of printed copies is only 100,000 per volume, which is unavoidable and indeed too small. After all, this book participated in the online evaluation in advance, and many people have read it. The quantity of 100,000 copies was determined after a long discussion with Tianya bookstore. After the contract was signed, Tianya bookstore informed Su Feng that the layout and printing had already been arranged. After 7 days, the book would be released and a few copies would be sent to Su Feng. It's just that Su Feng didn't ask for it. Why? The Ponzi scheme on the internet has finally exploded on the 4th day. One of the people who were scammed and couldn't help but start cursing Su Feng's pen name, Pleasant Goat, in the comments section, and it was like a gap in a reservoir that would only expand once opened. Su Feng's pen name, also known as Pleasant Goat, is now a street mouse and everyone is shouting and beating. Dog thief. I can't help it. Why write such a knife? Do you dare to read what you have written, kid? This is the first time in my life that I've cursed someone because it's not a novel plot. A thief will take his life. What's that? Why are you cursing the author at zhaozhuyuan.com? I think he wrote quite well, so the author can give me an address and I'll give you some local specialties. Right, why do I only see such a novel now? I really like it. Author, you are my confidant, I want to have a good gathering with you. Give me an address quickly. Of course, these comments can be posted, and there are also some comments that cannot be posted. The momentum of this book is really great, and anyone who has read it will be amazed. However, Su Feng was a bit confused. According to the original system, in order to arouse a surge in the hearts of readers and listeners, he read through the comments of these readers one by one. But why didn't the system panel jump? For days have passed, why is the value of this panel novel still 0? Is it phased settlement? As Su Feng had imagined, for days before the official release of Life's Everlasting Sorrow in the East, which was around noon today, suddenly Su Feng let out a ding in his mind. A familiar light blue screen flashed before my eyes. Host. Su Feng, novel. 10877, Song. 12, Film and Television. 0, Congratulations to the host for completing the task. The single item value has exceeded 10,000, with one directional task card and one random selection of entertainment works. It has been distributed to the system warehouse, finally here. Su Feng didn't know how long he was thinking about this reward, so he opened the warehouse directly and cast his gaze first on the familiar random entertainment work extraction *1. Su Feng silently prayed, don't be a novel, come to a song, and then don't be a work by Dao Ren, be more positive. Then he opened the random selection of entertainment works. Chapter 8. Deep Cooperation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the novel. My 26-year-old tenant, extract. Hiss. Su Feng's mood at this moment is a bit subtle. How to say it? Firstly, what does this system mean? Brother is from the composition department. Can you give me some songs? Secondly, do you have a serious illness in the system? This book and novel, Su Feng, don't even need to extract them to know that it's not simple, because its name Su Feng is so well known. Classic urban cool article. Although this thing may not be as terrifying as the one in the book, Life's Everlasting Sorrow, Water Heading East, it is also known as the strategic partner of Huaxia Tobacco. Does this system necessarily want to be killed? Can you provide some positive energy works? Now the online condemnation of Su Feng's pen name, Pleasant Goat, is too much for him to read. This group of people is shouting every day to give him some local specialties. Thanks to Su Feng's good hiding, otherwise he would have to consider whether to hide in other states to avoid the limelight. Su Feng took a strong breath, calmed down his restlessness, and chose not to extract this novel for the time being. After all, we Su Feng are thinking for the sake of our readers and grandfathers. How can I repeatedly post these knife works to break through the defenses of my dear readers? Promise to only generate positive energy in the future. Then our future works must make everyone smile knowingly. It seems like I still have a directional task card. System, how is the directional task card used? Is there an introduction? Unfortunately, the system still hasn't responded. Su Feng was speechless for a moment, so cold and aloof. Forget it, practice is the only criterion for testing truth, Su Feng said directly, use directional task cards. With a swipe, the familiar light blue screen reappeared once again. Please select the reward field for the host. Oh. Su Feng seemed a bit confused. Is orientation setting the approximate range of the final reward? That's not emotional anymore. Su Feng was so happy that he didn't even have to think about it. He said to himself, song. Ding. The reward field has been determined as song. Task generation is underway. Ding. Generation completed, task name. An apprentice on the road of music, task brief. As a man who wants to become the uncrowned king, you should be ahead of your peers, but in reality, your progress is far behind your classmates, so your current task is to catch up and catch up until you catch up. Task requirement. Please join any of the top 3 entertainment companies in Qinzhou for an internship within 1 week. Task reward. Song, love transfer, ah. Su Feng's mouth twitched as he looked at the task briefing, his expression uncomfortable. Have any students joined the entertainment company for internships since their sophomore year? Do you want this role? But this task is better than publishing a novel about female tenants. After all, there is no life-threatening situation. Su Feng sat in his seat, feeling his chin, and began to ponder how to join these top 3 companies. The top 3 entertainment companies in Qinzhou. They are called Dawn, Azure, and Early Morning. The first 3 companies are all fully developed, and the gap between them is specifically reflected in. Dawn mainly surpasses the other 2 in terms of music. Ulan surpasses the other 2 in terms of film and television. In the early morning, she can be said to stand out in variety shows, not only surpassing the first 2, but even becoming famous throughout the state. His variety shows have always been copyrighted by other states. And among these 3 companies, the one Su Feng most wants to join is Shuguang. After all, he is currently ranked first and has invested a lot in music. Other companies, it can only be said that they are not the best choice. As for establishing a company with the resources provided by the system, not to mention being too tired or not having the strength and energy, it can be said that the world respects creators. For example, no matter which company it is, there is a proportion of new composers who can participate in dividends. Unlike Su Feng's old home, BYD newcomers still want dividends, and having a signature for their own works would be highly appreciated. And the copyright still belongs to you, the company only has the priority right to use it for 5 years. So, in summary, there is no need to start a company, it's not worth it. Joining a company and relying on its resources for development is definitely the best option. Otherwise, how could there be the phrase, standing on the shoulders of giants? Su Feng has determined his desired company, which is Dawn. As for how to join, there is a simple way. November is the default new season for companies in the industry. At that time, Su Feng can go to the department next to his university to find a singer to collaborate on a song. As long as the ranking is good, someone from these 3 companies will give Su Feng an olive branch. But unfortunately, it has been too long. Su Feng can ensure that he will definitely have a song to participate in the new season, but now this task is waiting for no one. 1 week is too short. Su Feng touched his chin, it's hard to handle. For a while, Su Feng couldn't find a way, so he simply took out his phone and called Gong Rongliang, who wandered outside every day and claimed to be a Bai Xiaotong. Gong Rongliang is well informed, maybe he has a way here. After a few beeps, the phone answered. Su Feng asked directly, what is Lao Gong doing? You bastard, Buddy is about to get his contact information. You interrupted him. Ah. She's leaving. On the other end of the phone came Gong Rongliang's indignant words towards Su Feng, damn it. Your stepmother is gone. As punishment, you'll wrap dinner for me tonight. Su Feng retorted directly, damn it, if you want me to ask you, just say it directly. By the way, aren't you a coward who has been sealed with cement? Now you're talking to me like this. He, Gong Rongliang scratched his head on the other end of the computer and sneered at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, Old Su, do you know the feeling of falling in love at first sight? I feel like my love is coming again. Oh. Su Feng suddenly became interested, who is my daughter? Law. Hey. Gong Rongliang said sternly, your stepmother is the vice chairman of the student union. Su Feng felt his brain twitch in an instant. His expression was strange and uncertain, and he said, if I remember correctly, it seems that the vice chairman of our school's student union is still being selected and temporarily replaced by Mr. Wang, who is 28 years old and unmarried, right? Yeah. Your stepmother is her. Gong Rongliang's voice on the other end of the phone proudly raised a little. Okay. Su Feng couldn't help but give Gong Rongliang a thumbs up every other time. Old Gong, you have ideals. How did you say that? A toothpick stirred up a water tank. Hey. What's up? Gong Rongliang took a sip of Su Feng. Su Feng straightened his expression and said, all right, I have something to do with you. Gong Rongliang urged, tell me quickly, buddy, I haven't received your contact information yet. Do you know the Dawn? Oh yo. Do you also know? Is this news spreading so quickly? It shouldn't have happened. I just found out. When did you also have such good news? Ah. Su Feng asked in confusion, what do I know? What unknown thing has happened again? Oh, Gong Rongliang said nonchalantly, you don't know, that's okay. Dawn and our college are going to have a deep cooperation recently. We talked about Professor Rongguang coming to our school for a class a while ago. The time has been set, it's tomorrow, and then this is just the beginning. Dawn will be conducting campus recruitment at our school the day after tomorrow. Oh. Su Feng's eyes lit up. What does it mean to face difficulties and solve them? Chapter 9 Sister, Our Family Has Money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, it has been 7 days since the evaluation of emerging novelists in the whole state, and this event has officially come to an end. In the end, the eternal sorrow of life won third place in one fell swoop. Su Feng is too satisfied with this result. After all, everyone is not really TikTok. After the explosion of the Ponzi scheme, the popularity of this novel has indeed increased significantly, but its horror still makes countless people hesitate, and everyone only dares to watch and dare not click in. And the rating of this book has also begun to sharply decline. The score dropped from 9.4 at the beginning to 8.2. Mainly, it's too sharp. After everyone reads it, what are the comments in this section? This novel deserves a 5-star review, but I will pay in installments. I just have a serious illness. Why do I need to see it? Beautiful is really beautiful, and the sword is also a real sword. Yang Jian is too miserable. Even some people who have broken their defenses have opened modifiers to give this book and novel a 0 score. The pen name Xianjiang by Su Feng has been completely popularized, and in just a few days, the name Xianjiang has become a code name in the hearts of countless novel readers. Devil. What is the name of this bee, pleasant goat? Ah. Do you really have face? As for the publication of 3 volumes arranged by Tienya Bookstore, each with 100,000 copies, a total of 300,000 copies. It has also begun to be officially released. The effect of this release is quite good, and the purchasing audience can be divided into 2 categories. One type is those who do not believe in evil online and want to take a look and challenge themselves, but cannot watch online and can only buy offline. There is another type, which is similar to those who became popular in the past. They bought it not for themselves, but as a gift for others. I have been in the rain, and you are not allowed to take an umbrella. There are still quite a few of these people, but as soon as the 300,000 copies were released, 2/3 of them were sold within 1 day. And this time, the ranking reward for the new novelists of the whole state has also been sent to Su Feng, totaling 160,000 yuan, with around 150,000 yuan deducted from taxes. After receiving this money, Su Feng left a small change for himself and gave all of this 140,000 yuan to his elder sister that evening. When Su Wanqiu received the money, she had just walked half an hour from work to get home, grabbed the watch, took a shower, changed into pajamas, and was about to eat instant noodles and read a novel to charge it. Suddenly, she received a message from her bank card and a message from Su Feng to herself. "Sister, we have money now. You can relax a bit in the future." In an instant, Su Wanqiu felt as if she had been punched hard. Her emotions were pierced, and her eyes turned red in an instant. Uncontrollably, she called Su Feng via video call. Su Feng continues the video. Su Feng smiled on the balcony and said, "Sister, how much money does our family owe? Is this money enough?" Su Wanqiu didn't reply, and her eyes were filled with endless water vapor. The next moment, she bit her lips and asked Su Feng in a slightly trembling voice, "You stinky kid, you haven't graduated yet. What do you mean by transferring money to your sister? You're worried that your sister won't make any money, right?" "Sister, that's not what I meant. I just want you to relax a bit." Su Feng's smile gradually disappeared and he rubbed his head in confusion. "Your sister, I. Su Wanqiu said, realizing that she couldn't say a word. At this moment, her mind was filled with memories of her parents passing away, and she became the head of the family at the age of 16, dropping out of high school, and experiencing various hardships. And for Su Feng and her younger brother, she forced herself to hold on for so many years, and now it seems like she can finally stop holding on. It seems like we can finally turn the page. At this moment, Su Feng has sensed that Su Wanqiu's state in the video is a bit wrong. Su Feng hurriedly said, "Sister, you don't have to carry the burden of our family alone. With me and my elder sister, I bought you 7 brands of facial mask. Remember to accept them." This seems to be the last straw that crushed the camel. In an instant, the excruciating injustice was completely released in Su Wanqiu's heart, and she even cried. Crying loudly. Over the years, Su Wanqiu has cried alone, but she has never cried in front of Su Feng, let alone cried so heartrendingly. Tears as big as beans flowed from Su Wanqiu's eyes as if she didn't want money, falling into the instant noodles she had just taken a bite of. Su Feng was immediately flustered by his older sister's voice and quickly spoke up, "Sister, why are you crying?" Su Wanqiu choked up and forced herself to smile. "I'm happy because my younger brother has finally grown up." Su Feng's heart tugged as he looked at Su Wanqiu on the screen of his phone. He silently turned his hand around Su Wanqiu's cheek, which he couldn't touch, and spoke softly, "Sister, rest assured that there will be me in the future. Don't cry, wipe your cheeks, you can't cry anymore. After all, you have cried too much. If I call you old sister, in the future, you won't be able to refute me." Su Wanqiu nodded seriously, "Don't cry. I don't cry. My younger brother is the best. As a sister, I should be happy, but not crying." Su Feng nodded approvingly and went to Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, then half-jokingly said, "Sister, our family will get better and better in the future. I don't know how long I will have a brother. Lol." Su Feng's words directly made Su Wanqiu laugh and curse, "You stinky kid. How old are you? You're starting to worry about these things for your sister." "Oh my," Su Feng said seriously, "sister, haven't you heard a word? My elder brother is like a father. I don't care about you, who cares about you? Fuck you." Su Wanqiu was so amused by Su Feng's words that she burst into tears and laughed. Su Feng looked at Su Wanqiu's face on the screen and smiled, just a bitter smile. It can be clearly seen that Su Wanqiu's dark circles under her eyes are very heavy on the screen. Even though she has just released a bit of low pressure, her overall temperament can still be seen to be in poor condition. Su Feng and Su Wanqiu chatted a few more words, but ultimately, under Su Feng's coercion, Su Wanqiu told Su Feng how much money the family owed now. Because of that illness, Su Feng's family owed 8,907,600 yuan back then. After working hard for so many years, Su Wanqiu has already paid back 370,000 yuan. Now that Su Feng has invested 140,000 yuan, there is still a gap of 360,000 yuan. How to put it, Su Feng estimates that he can repay half of the royalties next month. If he takes it slow, he feels like he will definitely be able to repay it all within this year. But Su Feng doesn't like the feeling of owing money, let alone his older sister worrying about it. Su Feng's eyes were unprecedentedly firm at this moment, so he must join Dawn and release the song, Love Transfer. At most next month, he must repay this money. The next day. Today is Friday. Su Feng and Gong Rongliang got up early in the morning for a simple reason of grabbing seats. Rongguang, the #1 music industry leader in Qinzhou, started his class at 10 a.m. this morning. Chapter 10. Glory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Lao Su, have you finished buying it? Here we are. What are you urging me to do? Have you secured your spot yet? Stand still, position C in the third row, let's just wait for our debut. Okay. We'll be there soon. Su Feng put away his phone, took a bite of the bun in his hand, and quickened his pace. 5 minutes later, Su Feng arrived outside the classroom of B1 teaching building where teacher Rongguang's open class was held. He had not yet entered, and the chattering sounds in the classroom filled Su Feng's ears like magic sounds. Su Feng tilted his head slightly to take a look. Good guy. The composition department is densely packed with people, and it feels like at least 2/3 of the over 700 members have arrived. This classroom is the largest in Qinzhou Academy of Art, but now it's difficult to move around. The hallway behind the classroom is crowded with people pulling small horses or sitting directly on the floor. Oh my! Su Feng twitched the corner of his mouth and quickly searched for Gong Rongliang's figure. Gong Rongliang was also looking for Su Feng, and the two of them exchanged a glance. Gong Rongliang signaled to Su Feng to come quickly. Sorry, classmate, please make way. Su Feng squeezed past the classmates sitting outside and sat down next to Gong Rongliang. Gong Rongliang took the steamed stuffed bun bought by Su Feng and took a mouthful of soybean milk. Su Feng looked around and sighed, I wonder if we can go out after finishing teacher Rongguang's class today and say proudly that we are also students of teacher Rongguang. Gong Rongliang bit into the bun and said vaguely, then you should call me senior brother. Su Feng was thinking about how to get familiar with Rongguang's face when he heard Lao Gong's words. Without hesitation, he replied. I don't have a senior brother, I only have a senior sister. You kid. Gong Rongliang twitched the corner of his mouth and started directly, intending to torture Su Feng well. However, before they could even do it, the two of them noticed that their classmates around them were all restless. They immediately stopped and turned their gaze forward. I saw a middle-aged man in his 40s, with a particularly strong physique and wearing short-sleeved shorts and even sunglasses, accompanied by their composition department head to the front of the podium. No need to think, the only person who can be accompanied by the head of his composition department is Rong Guang. Su Feng squinted his eyes. First of all, he didn't have much impression of teacher Rongguang and his group of little karami. They didn't worship him, but this big shot rarely appeared. It seems that this is the case for all creative giants. Perhaps it is because they believe in the saying, the further away I am from my fans, the closer my fans are to the work. But this does not affect countless students like Su Feng and Gong Rongliang to imagine what Rongguang really looks like. But what should I say after looking at this renowned teacher Rongguang from Qinzhou today? Anyway, there are similarities and differences with what Su Feng thinks. Su Feng always thought that a big shot like Rongguang should be wearing golden glasses and an executive jacket, with an extraordinary temperament at first glance. It's not simple, he's a big shot. And when I saw him today, his attire and demeanor were indeed quite impressive, because the old man was a bit trendy. These shorts are still beach pants. It seems that if it weren't for this open class, it's highly likely that they weren't sports shoes on their feet, probably flip-flops. The students in the classroom looked at the autumn water one by one, their eyes swirling around their head teacher. Although everyone knew that the person in front of them was Rongguang, they were still waiting for the head teacher's affirmation. After a few polite words from the director and Rongguang on the podium, he picked up the microphone and said to all the students, "All right, everyone. Let me introduce you to Rongguang, who is from Dawn Entertainment. Let's give him a round of applause." Before the director could finish speaking, the students in the audience had already started spontaneously. After the director and Rongguang looked at each other for 2 seconds, the director shrugged helplessly and said, "Teacher Rong, it seems that your prestige among the students is very high." What the director said, "You're not bad either." "Alright, why don't you compliment me too much? I'm a bit scared." After the director finished speaking, he turned around and clapped his hands. He once again used the microphone and said, "Alright, everyone, then I won't disturb everyone. Now, let's invite teacher Rongguang to start today's lecture." After the director finished speaking, he consciously walked to the switch in the classroom and stood there. And the students in the audience once again spontaneously raised their hands, and the whole classroom was filled with applause. Countless pairs of eyes were fixed on Rongguang, the top Chu father in Qinzhou. Everyone is looking forward to what kind of surprise this Chu dad's first sentence can bring to everyone. Rongguang caught everyone's gaze, pursed his lips slightly, and after a moment, he pulled out the chair behind him and sat directly in front. Then he did something that his classmates could never have imagined. Rongguang dug into his pocket, took out a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. Su Feng's neck shrank forward. Gong Rongliang poked Su Feng with his elbow and exclaimed in shock, "Damn it, what is teacher Rong doing?" The classroom also echoed with the sound of dense discussions. Rongguang calmly took out a cigarette and lit it for himself, saying to Su Feng and others, "I'm sorry, everyone. I have a bad habit of using a stick when thinking and speaking, otherwise I wouldn't be able to make things. Of course, some students cannot accept it. Take a slow walk when going out, after all, I am only here for a class and not your teacher." Everyone's faces remained expectant, with excited expressions waiting for Rongguang to continue speaking. After all, even if Rongguang likes to take off his clothes, as long as he lectures. Then, amidst everyone's gaze, Rongguang took a deep breath and slowly spoke up with a curved expression at the corner of his mouth, "Today, I was invited by Director Wang of your composition department to give you a lesson. I don't even know what to talk about at zhaoshuyuan.com. Because of the profession of composition, I can honestly tell you that your teachers are already teaching quite a bit. A recent survey in Qinzhou showed that 59% of young people dream of studying this major in college, but only 1 in 1,000 out of 59% can truly rely on composition to make a living after graduation. So, in the class I gave you today, I only had one sentence earlier. Diligence determines your lower limit, talent determines your upper limit. By the way, did you tell them, Director Wang? Rongguang suddenly said to the director standing quietly beside him listening to the class. Director Wang looked at Rongguang in confusion and said, "What are you saying?" "Oh, you haven't said it yet." Rongguang took another sip and then said to all the students, "Tomorrow, Dawn will hold a school recruitment at your school, and all students can come. Tomorrow's standards will be very low and high." This contradictory sentence means that I am going to say a very blunt blow to you now. If you come to school tomorrow but haven't applied for an internship at Dawn, I personally suggest that you switch careers because you won't be able to make a living by composing music in the future. Rongguang's words directly turned the classroom into a library. In a true sense, it was completely silent and too straightforward, as if Rongguang was a butcher, directly uncovering their inner fantasies about composition, and then presenting the bloody truth before their eyes. Rongguang continued, "All right, everyone, let's talk happily. Qin, Chu, Han, Wei, Zhao, Yanqi, all the cultural and entertainment practitioners in our 7 major states have a common ideal, which is to create a work that can be called an art. I really want to ask, what is art for everyone?"